So recently you've been thinking about packing all your things, changing your name, and moving to another planet. Now, I'll never be one to shoot down a dream, but baby steps. It honestly sounds like you're in need of a good old-fashioned road trip. Oh, you don't know how? But weren't you just saying how you wanted to move? Never mind. I got you. Just grab a notepad, a pencil, some snacks, and I'll tell you all you need to know. I got you. The main things you want to focus on is saving, planning, your route, and shelter. Let's start with saving. Before I had even thought that it was possible for me to go on a road trip, I was already saving some money. Not a ton, but enough to where I could buy a used car if I needed to. So the first time around, I was honestly able to do whatever. But by the second time, it was the end of summer and I was in between blessings, as I like to say. But I was still able to really enjoy myself and have that life-changing experience that I wanted. So I really don't think it's necessary for you to have a ton of money when you go. Just make sure you have enough to cover food, shelter, and gas. But how am I supposed to know how much all of that would even cost? Relax. You don't have to have everything planned out to the last cent. But when it comes down to food, just take a rough estimate of how much you think that you would need to eat a day and stay within that budget. Now, you can save some money by finding a place with a usable kitchen. That way you can cook at home and you won't have to be spending as much money on eating out. Now for gas. A simple calculation that you can do to see how much gas money you'll be spending throughout the trip is taking how many miles you'll have to drive divided by the amount of miles your car gets when full times your cost of gas. For example, so if I was driving to Cali from my home state of Virginia, that would be about 2,265 miles, maybe more depending on how much I go off route. But for the sake of the example, let's say I don't, I take 2,265 and divide that by 365, which is how many miles my car gets on average when I fill up. That will give me 6.2, which indicates that I would have to fill up about 6 or 7 times. I would then multiply that number by 30, which is how much it costs for me to fill up my tank, which will give me a total of 180 to 210 to get there. And then you can multiply that by 2 to get the cost of how much it would be for a round trip. I also like to add an extra fill up or two because you really never know what could happen on a road trip. Now for shelter. So with this, you can honestly go 3 different ways. For the first option, you can kind of rent out like a van or RV type of thing, or just simply sleeping in your car and finding different rest areas to stay at and different campsites that you can park your car at and just sleep there. I feel like with this option, it will be really smart for you to utilize showering at gyms. So you can definitely check out a gym like Planet Fitness that has gyms in all 50 states and a bunch of different locations. I would definitely recommend looking into that. With the second option, you can kind of just wing it and stay at different hotels and motels as you go. With this option, you would just need to set a budget beforehand and just try to stay within it. I feel like with both of the first 2 options, I would definitely recommend doubling up on protection, both physically and spiritually, because people crazy out here, especially if you're traveling alone. Double up on protection for sure. Even no matter what option you do, just double up on protection when you are traveling. And then with the third option, which is what I did, is just pre-book all your places beforehand. This option, in my opinion, just requires the most time and effort up front, but I definitely feel like it is worth it. One tip I would definitely leave you with, if you are doing this option, try to pick places that has a kitchen so that way you can cook there and not have to spend so much money eating out. If you are going with option 3, I just want to go over real quick how you can make the process a little more simple and making sure you pick the best options for you. So first, you're going to want to make a list. And with this list, you're going to pick 2 to 3 places for each state that you will want to stay in. So say you find a nice place on Airbnb, and then you find a nice hotel, and then maybe you find another place on Airbnb that you really like. You will write down all 3 of those places and do that for each state. As you're writing them down, make sure you're writing the cost beside it so that way you can keep track of how much it costs. Once you're done choosing them, go through and pick the best option depending on your budget and your wants, because maybe one place is like a little more expensive, but you really want to stay there, so you pick that option and then you go for a cheaper option in the next state. That's pretty much what I did, and it worked out very well for me. So definitely and definitely just look for those deals. Don't be trying to spend too much money on places, because it's really about the experience, not necessarily where you are staying. Just make sure you're staying somewhere safe, and make sure they have good reviews and stuff like that. I did stay at a couple places that didn't have reviews, and it wasn't bad. I was definitely a little scared. I wouldn't recommend taking chances on those Airbnbs that don't have like reviews if you're traveling by yourself, because you just never know what will happen. Also, Airbnbs are starting to get more expensive, so really make sure you are hunting for those deals. I promise you, they are still there. I've been able to always get cheap Airbnbs. Like, you really just have to hunt and make sure they have a filter where you can put that you don't want to go over a certain amount. So just make sure you drag that down to wherever you need to go. Look, I drag it all the way down to like 50, 60. I'll go up depending on the area. If the area is like popular and busy, then I will have to, put that cap up a little bit, but still just trying to stay within a certain budget and being smart about things. I would definitely say don't stress yourself out too much about trying to get everything perfect, because things cannot be perfect. Perfection is an illusion, and that's something that I just want to stress heavily to everybody always, no matter what you're about to do. Perfection is an illusion that they try to push on us so that we fucking spend our lives trying to be this and that and this and that, when in reality we should just be ourselves. And yes, like, I'm here to remind you that you are enough, and what you're doing is enough, and it is good in itself. Okay? One of the main things that's going to need saving before a road trip is your mindset. Like, how you view things and how you go about handling situations. Because you really have to check your mindset before going on a road trip, because literally anything can happen to throw you off track. Like, life will really test you, honestly. It will really test you and your character and how you go about handling situations. You really have to learn to just go with the flow of life instead of fighting it. Because the more you fight it, the more you're going to drown, and the harder that it is going to be. If you learn to flow with it, it will pull you back up the way that you are supposed to. And don't expect things to go your way all the time. Expect things to go the way that they need to go. Honestly, that's going to be my biggest advice. Expect things to go the way that they need to go, because you're going to learn some lessons. Yeah, so really just check your mindset and make sure that you're open. Like, make sure that you're open for all possibilities, and make sure that you got that mental strength that one thing isn't going to throw you off your track, and one thing isn't going to make you be like, I'm about to go home. Because, listen, like I said, I'm going to say it again, anything can happen on a road trip, y'all. Which brings me to my next point, planning. I feel like the best plan with a road trip is honestly no plan, or like loose, flexible plans, because again, anything can happen on a road trip. Y'all, literally anything could freaking happen. Like, I was driving through Colorado, and it just like a snowstorm appeared out of freaking nowhere, and I ran off the road. I couldn't even make it to my Airbnb that night. I almost had to just sleep in my car. It was freaking crazy, y'all. Like, anything can literally happen. Like, anything can happen. And I was alone. You need to make sure that your plans are flexible and that you are flexible. I would say at the most, write a list of just like monuments, or like natural parks, or communities, or any just things that you want to visit. Just write a list of those things beforehand, and that will help you in really planning your route. If you're trying to get to the Grand Canyon, but you also have some things that you want to see that's in Texas, then you will plan your route according to where you can go through Texas in order to get to the Grand Canyon. But honestly, it really just comes down to your intention for the road trip. Like, what is your intention for going on this road trip? Like, are you trying to explore? Are you trying to learn? Are you trying to have, hot girl fall, hot girl summer, hot girl winter? Like, are you just trying to show out? Are you trying to take aesthetic pictures for Instagram? Are you trying to just, have nice content? Do you need to just simply get away and clear your mind and be within your own energy? Once you find out your why for your road trip, then you can move forward with figuring out your route. So, for example, with my road trip, I really just wanted to go to the west. Like, I really just wanted a new scenery. I wanted to get away and really just be within my own energy. I always have so many people around me. So a lot of stays that I picked, they weren't like in like any super popular areas, or even if it wasn't super popular areas, it was still pretty secluded. So I just figured out how long it would take me to drive from each state, and then I just used process of elimination. Really, when it comes down to your route, just figuring out how long you want to drive. I definitely wouldn't recommend driving longer than 9 to 12 hours, so that way you can avoid driving at night and just getting tired of driving. Like, you can definitely get tired of driving. I personally personally did not get tired of driving. I was listening to different podcasts. I was learning. I was taking notes, y'all. I was doing all of this while driving. Like, I don't know if I should be giving that type of advice, but I was definitely doing everything under the sun while driving. So I just really didn't mind. I feel like it became very meditative for me. I hope that part with the route made sense, because I really just feel like your route depends on what you want. There's a lot of different routes on Google that you can search up that like hits all the different monuments and hits like all the major cities. Like, they have like a lot of different routes on Google. So I would definitely say, you know, look one up if you don't want to make one for yourself. But if you want to make one for yourself, just figure out what states do you want to visit. Write down the drive time and figure out how long do you feel like driving. Just use process of elimination to say, okay, I could drive more, I don't need to stop in this state, or okay, I need to drive less, I'm gonna just stop in this state. You know what I'm saying? I hope that makes sense. But yes, those are honestly my main tips when it comes down to planning a road trip. Those are things that really helped me. I feel like the main thing is to not stress yourself out, especially when you're on the road. Make sure that you can maintain your inner peace. So do what you need to do to maintain that inner peace, whether that be walking, meditating, praying, or just, you know what I'm saying, going to social events, you know what I'm saying, meeting people. Do what you need to do to maintain your inner peace, because it is going to help you so much when you are on the road away from everybody. I feel like if you're traveling with someone else, definitely take some time to yourself. Definitely take some time to yourself to explore on your own. I feel like you should take the road trip by yourself. Like, I'm just going to be an advocate for that, to take a road trip by yourself, to go and explore on your own. Just be smart, you know what I'm saying, be protected, and don't go into nowhere sketchy. If you have common sense, you're smart about things, you'll be good. But yeah, definitely just learn to go with the flow of life so that it can pull you back up instead of pulling you down and drowning you. The more you fight it, the worse it'll be. Like, I'm just telling y'all, honestly, I've just been learning that in general. Like, just go with the flow and double up on protection. But yeah, I asked y'all on Instagram, do y'all have any tips for anybody going on a road trip? Y'all, I only got 3 comments. Like, y'all just terrible. Y'all is just terrible. Just fake. Like y'all never. But yes, the 3 comments that I got was, don't overpack, find a good travel buddy, bring lots of snacks, and Rufo. I really just said Rufo. And road food to save money. I feel like a travel buddy is nice, but I just also would just recommend try to travel on your own, y'all. Like, get away from everybody else's energy, especially if you're empathic. Tell them people, baby, you need some time to yourself. You need some time to yourself. Like, I'm telling y'all, that road trip by myself was just so nice. That was the first time I was able to really just be within my own energy. Like, I'm like, oh, I got some good ass energy. Like, it's like I didn't even know how good my energy was, because I'm always so like buried under everybody else's. Like, god damn. The other trip was to find odd jobs if you need money. So things like DoorDash, Instacarting, Lyft, Amazon Priming, or just going into different stores and being like, hey, I need some help. You know what I'm saying? Like, those small shops, I feel like that's where you can, you know, find some work at. And there's a lot of different ways that you can find jobs. Honestly, you just gotta think out the box. Just think out the box. You can sell stuff on the road. You can do a lot of things. Money. Listen, money ain't an issue. Money is always in abundance. We just gotta grab it and get it. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm so happy that I did go on those 2 road trips, y'all. I never thought that I would be able to go like on a road trip. Like, that's just not something I just thought would be in my future ever. But I got put out, and it was just like, I might as fucking well. And I'm just happy I did. This summer has taught me a lot. I'm gonna be posting a video next week on the spiritual lessons that I learned throughout this summer. But yeah, make sure your post notifications are on so you don't miss that video. If you enjoyed this one, then leave a big thumbs up. Comment somewhere that you would like to travel to, or comment something crazy that you did this summer that was super out of your comfort zone. Thank y'all for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.